Lesson 9.6, finding average rate of change. So if you know an average, that's like your average grade or a batting average, it's adding up a bunch of numbers and then dividing by the number of numbers. It's not always accurate, but it's a good estimate of how you fall, right? So when we find an average rate of change, that means that it may not be the rate of change for the whole function, but it's over that specific interval of x values. And to do that, we just need to come back to the slope formula we've been doing since middle school. And that's really the change in y. There's a symbol for that. It's a triangle, change in y over change in x. Or really subtracting the y's and then subtracting the x's, because we want rise over run. We want to know the change in the vertical compared to the change in the horizontal. And so on number 1, I only want to find the average rate of change when x's are between 12 and 30. So that would be using this point where x is 12 and this point where x is 30. It helps me to write them as ordered pairs. And then do my slope formula. I also like to underline my x's with 1 line, my y's with 2. So my slope would be y2 minus y1, 16 minus 40, over 30 minus 12, which would be 24 over 18, and then you need to simplify. I can divide by 6, so that would be 4/3. So my average rate of change for that part of the function, it's going up 4, right 3. Right number 2. So this was given as a table. Number 2 is an equation. We want to find the average rate of change from -8 to 0. And so what we need to do is first figure out what is y when x is -8. What is y when x is 0? And we do that by plugging it into the function. So I would find g of -8 by doing negative of -8 squared minus 4 times -8 plus 9. I'm just going to do that all on my calculator. You should get -23. So there is a point at -8 comma -23. Plugging in 0 is a lot easier because we know that 0 squared is 0. -4 times 0 is 0. It's just this constant of 9. And so my slope formula, y2 minus y1, so it'll be 9 minus a -23. When we have double negatives, they turn into plus a positive. And the way I explain that is on a number line, if I'm going, if I'm starting at 9 and I want to go back, a negative, which is the opposite, really makes me add. That's how I explain it. And then 0 minus -8 is going to be 0 plus 8. And so again, it's 0 minus -8. Both turn into positive. 9 plus 23 would be 32. And then 0 plus 8 is 8. 32 does divide by 8, and that just makes slope of 4. So it's going up 4, right 1. Right, number 3 is a graph. And we want to know the average rate of change when x is -5 and when x is 3. So you need to find when x is -5. Hard to see here. Right here. So it looks like I have a point at -5 comma 0. And when x is 3, I am at -35. And what's happening here is I'm trying to find slope like this. So again, this line is not perfectly hitting all the points, but it's a good average. So -35 minus nothing over 3 minus a -5. -35 over 8 is what I get, and that can't be reduced. Okay, and the very last thing, they want us to order them. We've got 3 different functions. This is called f of x in the graph, g of x is the table, h of x is the function. Select the option that represents the ordering of the functions according to their average rates of change on the interval 3 to 5 from least to greatest. And so We just need to order them from least to greatest. So this interval, when x is 3, y is between 4 and 8, that would be 6. And then when an x is 5, looks like we're at -4. And so slope would be -4 minus 6 over 5 minus 3. That would be -10 over 2, which is -5 for the graph. And this one, I would pick the point. X is 3 and x is 5. So I'm finding 3, 10, 5, 2. My slope would be 2 minus 10 over 5 minus 3, which is -8 over 2, which is -4. And then this one, I have to plug in 3 and 5. 3 squared is 9 plus 3 plus 36. That would be 36 plus 9 would be 45, plus 3 is 48. And then plugging in 5, that would be 5 squared is 25, plus 5 is 30, plus 36 is 66. And my slope would be 66 minus 48 over 5 minus 3, which is 18 over 2, which is 9. So which number is the smallest? Would be -5, so it'd be f of x. Then it would be g of x. And then largest would be h of x. So it actually went in the exact same order. How fun. And that's how you find an average rate of change.